Well, welcome to another video. In this video, I would like to take a look at finding the first derivative of a couple of equations here. And we're going to be focusing on the power rule. So let's get started. First things first, the first derivative, dy over dx, can also be expressed as y prime. So that's the first thing I want to point out is that dy over dx is the same as y prime. They both mean find the first derivative. Now, for our first example, I want you to notice that we do have three terms. And so we're going to take the derivative of each term separately using the power rule. And so here's what the power rule says. It says to take the exponent and multiply by the coefficient. So that's going to give us -3 times a third. And then you're going to subtract 1 from the power. So you multiply and then subtract, basically, for doing the power rule. -3 minus 1 is -4, okay? And then you rinse and repeat. For the second term, multiply. That's going to give us -2 times -5, x to the -2 minus 1, which is -3. And last but not least, the derivative of a constant is 0. So the plus 1 basically goes away. The derivative of a constant is 0. And then the last thing we need to do here to find the first derivative is we need to clean this up a bit, okay? So doing the multiplication, -3 times a third is -1. X to the -4. And again, there the 1 is understood. I don't have to write the 1. And negative times a negative makes a positive, x to the -3. And that's done. All right, let's try the other one. The first thing I'm going to want to do in the other example over here is I want to get rid of the radical symbols and instead write those variables with rational exponents. All right, so here we go. 3 over 2, we're going to express that as an improper fraction. And since the x is in the numerator, that's going to be x to the positive half. Plus 5 over 3, again as an improper fraction. And this x is in the denominator, so if I bring him up to the numerator, that's going to make his exponent negative. Do you understand? It would have been x to the 1/2 in the denominator. Bringing it up to the top changes the sign of the power. And then we can execute the power rule. So we're going to multiply. We're going to have y prime equals, that's going to be 1/2 times 3/2 x to the, and then remember you subtract 1 from the power. 1/2 minus 1 is -1/2. And then we're going to rinse and repeat. -1/2 times 5/3. -1/2 times 5/3 x to the, and then we subtract 1. -1/2 minus 1 is -3/2. And then we're going to clean this up a bit. Multiplying the fractions in front here to get the lead coefficient simplified is going to give us 3/4 x to the -1/2 minus, that's going to be 5/6 x to the -3/2. Now, if you want to stop there, that would probably be okay. But if you want to take this back to, instead of rational exponents, if you want to take it back to where you have radical symbols again, we can do that. Starting with the x to the negative half, since it's negative, I'm going to need to bring that down to the denominator, and that'll be 3 over 4 square root of x. The negative half, when you bring the x to the bottom, is going to make that a positive half, and remember, x to the half means square root of x. Minus. Again, this exponent is negative, so we're going to need to bring the x down to the bottom. So that's going to be negative 5 over 6. Now this is x to the 3 halves. X to the 3 halves. So that would be x cubed under the radical symbol. And that's going back to algebra, okay? That's where a lot of calculus students get stuck, is at the algebra steps, not the calculus. And this is now in simplest radical form. And that's pretty much it for both of these. I think the last thing I want to do here, most of the time you don't want to have negative exponents, so we can fix this as well. So again, that coefficient is 1. If I wanted to make those exponents positive, I would say negative 1 over x to the 4th, plus that's a positive 1 over x to the 3rd. A lot of times you want those exponents to be positive. All right, so that's pretty much it for finding the derivative, focusing on the power rule in these two examples. Man, I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the comment section below, or you can text me. And thanks for watching.